And welcome back to the Texas Longhorn Football Channel. I am your main man, Anwar Richardson. Before we go too far, please do a couple of things for me. Hit the like button. And if this is your first time getting on the channel, hit subscribe for us just so you can get all the notifications, know when videos are getting posted. We've been doing a ton of stuff this week. You'll see more things that are on the channel. So just do for a favor. Hit like just because you like me, right? Or at least I hope you do. At least maybe I'll try to win you over within the next 10 minutes. And of course, hit subscribe. As you can tell, I am in a hotel room, right? There's nothing that screams hotel rooms like that lamp that's over here, this kind of couch that's over here. I have been kicked out of my house mainly because I'm not married, but I am here in San Antonio for the Alamo Bowl as Texas prepares to play against Washington. This thing will happen on Thursday, December 29th, 2022. Just in case you guys are watching this video a few years down the line, you're wondering when the heck was that filmed? December 29th, 2022. And I wanted to kind of briefly talk to you guys about one of the bigger topics that has been kind of approached and talked about throughout this week. And that one has been about the running backs. What is Texas going to do from a Texas running back perspective? As you guys already know, Bijan Robinson, he's gone. I mean, he's here, he's hanging around, but he's not going to play against Washington because he's going to, he's getting focused for the NFL draft. He doesn't want to risk injury. I think everyone kind of respects that decision that Bijan had to make. And look, Bijan has given so much to the university. I don't think anybody could be upset if he says to himself, you know what? Let me just play this smart. Let's play this safe. Let me just go ahead and focus in on the NFL draft. So he's not going to be playing in this. So your number one running back for Texas is gone. Then your number two guy, Roschon Johnson. He's not going to be playing in this game. Now, of course, he's getting ready for the NFL draft as well. I think I saw something on Pro Football Focus that had him rated as the number 10 running back that's going to be in the draft class, with Bijan, of course, being number one. And so, but he's healing up. He's got an ankle that's been bothering him. And, again, you got to get ready for the draft. You got to get ready for pre-draft workouts, all those kind of things that you're going to want to have to do. And so Roschon Johnson's not going to be there. And then, so we talk about next man up. Well, there's next man up after the next man. And that person is Jonathon Brooks. Jonathon Brooks will be starting against Washington in the Alamo Bowl. And it's been very interesting as I've had a chance this week to talk to different coaches, Kyle Flood about him, different players about him, Steve Sarkisian about him. And I kind of want to share some of the things that have been passed along to me, because obviously you guys remember Jonathon Brooks being the standout that he was. I want to make sure I get this names correct. Hallettsville, Texas. Shout out to that. I had to ask my producer, Blake. I said, where the heck is that? But obviously somewhere between Texas, Austin and Houston. But he had a fantastic, year. When Texas offered him, he didn't have a lot of offers. This was a Stan Drayton offer several years ago, part of the 2021 class. Didn't have a ton of offers. And then, the Texas Stan Drayton, they all saw something that was within him, saw something that was special. And then he had an outstanding senior season. And it totally validated, Texas going out and offering this young man and seeing something in him that a lot of other people, especially the major colleges, hadn't seen up until then. But then he gets here. And as you guys always know, it's a humbling process when kids get here at any really university, but of course, the University of Texas, more specifically, we're talking about, because he's got the studs in front of him. It's hard to get on the field when you've got Bijan Robinson out there. It's hard to get on the field when you've got Roschon Johnson out there. And it's even harder. We've got Keelan Robinson as kind of that specialty guy that was out there. And that was kind of what he faced. But with the two main guys gone, Brooks becomes the number one guy. So when asking Sarkisian about this, when he did a press conference today on Wednesday, he was asked about, hey, tell us about Jonathon Brooks and tell us the things that he needs to do. And he said, look, the one thing about him is basically that he's a natural runner. Sarkisian said this guy knows how to run between the tackles. I mean, he's got great footwork, great ability, agility, all those kind of things that you want in a running back. He's a natural runner. But he said the most important thing that they wanted to communicate to Jonathon going into this game is just be yourself. Don't try to be like Bijan. Don't try to be like Roschon. Just be you. Don't try to be even feel like you have to prove something to yourself or other people or prove that you belong. Just be the best version of yourself. And if you can do that, he'll definitely be successful. It's very interesting because I've talked to so many people behind the scenes, right always having conversations, but particularly started talking about Brooks in November and December, where there was kind of starting to be some question marks as to what will Bijan do, especially once we started to kind of know that okay, Texas is probably not going to compete for a Big 12 title. And I had plenty of people tell me, do not be surprised if there isn't a huge drop off when Brooks comes in the game. In fact, don't be surprised if he ends up looking like that dude, that stud when he comes in. Now, when someone tells you something like that, and someone tells you there won't be a huge drop off when from Bijan Robinson to Jonathan Brooks, your natural instincts is to say, crack is whack. Whatever you're smoking, put it down because this makes no sense. But the thing I keep hearing this week, and of course, prior to this week, but especially this week, keep hearing about how good Brooks is, how good he's looked in practice, and everyone is saying he's stepping into that role, he's emerging into that role. Okay, and then Sarkeesian was asked about Jonathan Brooks on Wednesday, and here's exactly what he said. He goes, I think Jonathan has done a nice job for the last 2 years of following the guys in front of him. He's had great leaders in front of him with Bijan, Roshan, and Keelan. He goes, those guys go about their business like pros. They're very intentional in what they do, not just on the football field, but in the workouts, in the classroom, in life, the way they conduct themselves. So I think he's had great role models that way. He goes about his business the same way. Goes the one thing Jonathan can do. He's a natural runner with the football in his hands, and whether it's between the tackles on the perimeter, he's got great ball skills. So the biggest thing for us is for him to go out and be him, not to try to do more than he's already shown us. He's more than capable to be a very good football player for us. Now it's just about being in the moment and just being him and not trying to do more. High praise from Steve Sarkeesian when asked about Jonathan Brooks. Now, we're going to see a lot of Jonathan Brooks, but don't keep an eye on Jaden Blue. Now, look, you guys go. I know it's going to happen. Someone's going to say, "What about Keelan Robinson?" Keelan Robinson, he's going to have a role in there as well. When I talked to Kyle Flood this week, he started talking about there would be maybe a running back by committee, potentially something that we might see in the Alamo game. Now, listen, I think running back by committee sounds great, but you guys all know that at some point you settle in who your guys are. And it still said, but Keelan, Keelan's still kind of like a specialty guy, the guy that they need for certain particular plays. Brooks probably ends up being number one, but Jaden Blue, here's another guy to say you're supposed to keep your eye on, because when I talked to Kyle Flood and was asking him about Jaden Blue, here's what Kyle Flood said. He goes, he's been good. He goes, he's a guy I would point to and say, I've seen a little bit of a different intent with him in terms of how he has gone about this. He's been practicing better and better and better as the year has gone on. And now I've seen a spike. He realizes now he's going to get more of an opportunity. You want players that always have that mentality, but it's hard when you have Bijan and Roshan, and I'm adding in a little bit more in front of you. But it's hard for a young guy to see that. Well, now he doesn't have to look through anything else. It's right there. So now we're going to have a healthy dose of Jonathan Brooks. And now, of course, you have Jaden Blue, which again, now you're thinking of if you're Jaden Blue, think about how far down you are on the depth chart. And now okay, I'm here. Like I'm a person that's going to get some meaningful reps. Yeah, you can, as Flood said, now you can see the intent that's there. Flood also praised Brooks as well. So, we're definitely going to see those two guys. We're definitely going to see Keelan Robinson again. You don't want to oversell it because we have to see, like, is this going to be the game? Like, will this be that Casey Thompson game, right? The game that we all remembered him for. And when he did that in the Alamo Bowl, you said to yourself, boom, he's here. Or remember Bijan in the bowl game. You guys remember that was kind of Bijan's coming out party as well, when Bijan was able to kind of go ahead and cement himself and say, I am here. Jonathan Brooks has the same opportunity to be able to become one of those guys that you look at and you say, my goodness, he's the next whatever that you need. He doesn't matter. And again, we're not talking about trying to be the next Ricky Williams or anything to that effect, but to what Steve Sarkisian is saying, being the best version of yourself, and then being a person that you can get on the field against a defense that's, we would say, well, not really as good. Washington isn't really known for having a great defense. So he has a great opportunity in front of him. We'll definitely see what Jonathan Brooks has in store for us, obviously in the Alamo Bowl, and then beyond that. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. I appreciate all the support that you guys have shown us and shown the channel. We'll have tons of content. We'll have a post-game show that will come on Thursday night. I've got my days right. And then of course we'll resume all the normal programming in the first of the year. So first of all, be safe. Whatever you're going to do in the New Year's Eve or anything like that, festivities, make sure you're safe and make sure you are back here whenever, however, soon as possible for the Texas Longhorn Football Channel. I'm your main man, Alma Richardson. Talk to you soon.